Hey there, everybody. I am March. I'm assuming you can all hear me right now. And I'm going to be running Micro Machines for you today. This is kind of a long race, so I want to jump right into it. We're doing Challenge Champion Percent, so it's basically just the normal base game playing against AI. And time will start when we select our character, and of course we're going to pick the fastest guy, and go. Alright, so this is a game based on the toy line of the same name, which was a very big toy in the 90s. I don't know if they still make them today or not. It's a top-down racer, kind of like the original Grand Theft Autos a little bit. It can throw people off because the controls are always relative to your car. They're not relative to the screen. I don't know if it's because I played it as a kid, it never really gave me a problem, but some people just cannot play this game at all because it becomes very disorienting. So the level design in this, the track is really more of a suggestion than anything else, as you'll see here. There's these little squares. Actually, if you see the blue and white squares, they're made up of 4 of those, right? That line the whole course. And some of them you have to hit, and a lot of them you don't. So obviously we want to go fast, so this is one of the most egregious of the bunch where you basically never see the track. Yeah, this is a very fast first race, obviously. Yeah, and so it has these checkpoints that are required, and if you go a little bit past them, you will explode and go back to your last known checkpoint, which can be devastating in a speedrun, depending on where it happens. I'm hoping I won't just demonstrate that for you today, but it definitely can happen, especially when nerves kick in a little bit. Like that one right there, it's actually very tight, where it's super easy to go just a little bit too far and explode. So these are my favorite levels. There's a bunch of different vehicle types. There's 3 of each, except for this type. I think I tagged the thing. Okay, I did. Just barely tagged that checkpoint. This is my favorite of the bunch, and it's also the hardest of the bunch, like by far, in my opinion, because they basically like rally cars, kind of slide all over the course, and the courses are pretty tough, especially with the tiny little bridges, and they get tiny. Oops, not sure how I managed to do this. Okay, it's fine. That was okay. That was marathon right there. All right, so now we're about to close out this first level, this first car level, I should say, and it's pretty clean except for that little hitch going there. That'll happen though. And now we're on to the first of the Warriors cars. So these are pretty straightforward. The main thing here is to avoid the super glue, because as you imagine, if you're a miniature car and your wheels go through a little bit of super glue, not a good time. Okay, so we have a little bit of a shortcut here. Now you might notice that my racing lines aren't super great. Sometimes they're awkward because I'm dodging, trying to touch specific checkpoints and things like that. Sometimes there's a lot that I could optimize here still. I am the world record holder, but part of the reason why I'm here is because I kind of want to change that. Because I really love this game, and I'd love to see what would happen if, some people from the F-Zero crowd or the Mario Kart crowd got their hands on it. Not an incredibly competitive game as it stands right now. When I came in and started running this game, actually we're getting to the bonus rounds here, so cherries out, you have to pick a new racer. One of the nice things about this game is all the menuing can be buffered, so you don't have to mash or anything like that. You get frame perfect every time just by holding the buttons down. So yeah, these bonus rounds, you get them every 3 wins, consecutive or otherwise, and that water is more of a suggestion than anything. But there's only 3 of them. So this came out on a bunch of different platforms, and almost every different platform seems to have different rules about how the bonus rounds work. On the Nintendo version, it's every 3 wins, and there's an unlimited number of them. So a lot of the NES run revolves around coming in second place a lot, so that you avoid the bonus stages, which I can respect as a run. It's just not for me, I don't think, personally. But there is a runner who runs that. He's probably the most prolific of the Micro Machine runners, but he's not moved to Genesis yet. So yeah, Mr. Saitan is his name. So he's running the Game Boy version right now, but I've seen him run at least one other version. And yeah, so if you watch his runs, he has all these techniques for coming in second place. But in the Genesis version, since there's only 3 bonus rounds, I don't think it's a lot of second places for pretty substantial time gain. But there's like 26 races here, so that's a lot of second places. So yeah, that was the first of the sand levels. See, I can crash there afterwards and still be fine. So yeah, my racing lines can definitely be improved. When I first came to this game, though, I was only really looking at the Genesis runs, and no one had really optimized it. Like the world record at the time is a really good run. He just didn't really route it a lot. Just kind of played the game, which I think that if he came back to this and raced it with similar racing lines, but with these new skips and such, he would probably beat my time, I would imagine. But so I sat down and did a bunch of routing on this game, found a bunch of these shortcuts, only to discover later that Mr. Saitan had already routed it on the NES version, and it turns out that they're quite similar. However, there's a lot of things on the Genesis version that are not on the Nintendo version, and I found some things that he hadn't found that do work in both. So I'm kind of glad that I didn't know that, because I probably would have just been like, oh, this is what exists, and I wouldn't have questioned it too much. But instead, I treated it as though I was the first to do it, and I think it paid off. And it was a lot of fun too. I really enjoyed routing this game and trying to figure out how to break it. I found a couple glitches that save a little bit of time, nothing too crazy, but it's a lot of fun to find those. I'm excited to show them off for you today. I think one of the things that keeps this game from being having a more competitive scene is that it's long. My estimate's 55 minutes. My record is 49, 42. That's a long speed run in my mind. I'm a Sonic 2 runner as my main game, and that's less than 20 minutes. So it's definitely a change to run such a long game. Something I'd like to do. My dream is to maybe one day come up with a hack that has a level select built into it, and then we can try to get an IL community going, because there's a lot of races here that are really fun on their own, and some of them are just kind of okay, and don't really have any exciting shortcuts or anything like that. So this level is pretty straightforward. I always liked this level as a kid, or these levels in general, the pool table levels. I thought they were always really creative. All the level designs in this game I think are great. The art's great. Really gives you the feeling of playing with your toys on furniture and stuff. Obviously we have that minor little shortcut. The pockets in these levels are weird. The hitboxes to enter them are not where they seem, so sometimes you just don't go in the hole at all and instead bounce off the back. It's less for the diagonal ones. It's more for the side pockets, which we'll deal with in later levels. So yeah, loved this game as a kid. Played it a whole lot. It's got a nice competitive mode, 1v1 sort of versus mode. It's weird, but it's pretty cool. Basically, it's like you're on the same screen and you try to race so that you knock your opponent off the screen, and then like first to like 5 points or something like that wins. It's pretty cool. Alright, so Jethro's out, so now we get to pick our next racer. Again, I'm just holding down start and right, and then we'll, as soon as I get you to the racer, let go, and that's very perfect, easy peasy. And here we have our second bonus race. This one can be a little nasty, but we're going to do our best here. Again, suggestions, the water suggestions. We're going to take a little shortcut. I've only just recently started doing that. That was one that Mr. Saitan found. It could definitely be smoother through these bushes. This turn sucks. Hey, we made it. I know it didn't look like much, but that's actually very tight. We're actually on a pretty good pace right now. I feel like I've been racing pretty well lately. I don't want to jinx anything, but there is a chance we might see a new world record today. I shouldn't have said anything. I totally just jinxed it. I know I did. So here again, my number one concern, no matter what happens, try to stay out of the glue. Because the thing about the glue is that, like normally when you hit an obstacle, you kind of bounce off it, but you don't lose all your acceleration. The glue, not only do you lose all your acceleration, but you also get stuck in the glue. And even after you're out of the glue, these things have such slow acceleration that it just takes forever to get back up to speed. I can take that turn quite a bit tighter, so I'm going to try to do that on this next lap. Oh boy. Okay. Avoided the glue, that's all that matters. That's all I care about at this point in time. Okay, around the glue. We'll try to take this turn tighter this time. Not this turn, but this last turn coming into the lap right here. Oop, nope, early. Sorry. There we go. Okay, like that is what I wanted to do. It's fine. Another thing that kind of bums me out about this game, I don't want to spend too much time talking about what I don't like about the game, but it's a bummer that there's no music during the levels. Like, I like the music between levels. There's no music during the levels, and so when I stream this, I usually mute the game audio and just stream with music. But then I record the game audio locally, so if if I get a PB, then I still have my game audio. All right, so this is the first level that has, maybe you can call it a glitch. Basically, so there's all these bubbles, and you kind of bounce on the bubbles, right? And there's going to be an obstacle where you can go between the obstacle and the bubbles. There'll be this tunnel thing. And if you do it just right, it will send you flying as you kind of pinch between them. I call it the bubble railgun. So here it comes. I think we're too far left. Yeah. The good news is that you mess it up once, you're lined up to do it again the second time around. And as you can see, it still probably saves time, even if you mess it up the first time. You have to line up. You don't have a very wide pixel range to get lined up for it originally. I knew that you could do this as a kid, but I didn't know that it sent you flying so far. I think we're good here. Yeah. Whee! It's also not possible on the NES version. I don't think we found another version of the game where it works for some reason. But yeah, that's super fun. I think we're good. Oh, no. It's like you have to turn left and then straighten out at just the right time to get the big boost like that. Alright, so now we're on to the second of the Turbo Wheels levels. This one's a little bit more interesting, more shortcuts, some scarier parts in general. I'm just going to go straight here and let those guys take the long way. And we're gonna come around here. And again, the water in this game is really more of a suggestion than anything else. Oops, see there, I cut it just a little bit too close, and I ended up on the next checkpoint over than the one that I meant to touch, so it blew us up and put us back. So I think I'm not going to go. I don't even think that that's actually... Wow, I don't know what happened there. I don't think that's even actually a shortcut. I don't know. I've always just kind of done it, but I don't really think it saves a ton of time. Okay, we gotta fight with the AI a little bit here, because we did lose quite a bit of time there. Also, it's worth mentioning, the AI does get fairly significant rubber banding, so they're never that far behind, depending on the race. Like the tank levels that'll come up later, they don't get a huge speed boost, so you can lap them pretty easily. But in these levels, you know, if you make a mistake, you know, the AI is usually not super far behind. Oops. Alrighty. So as you can see, we're just ripping on through the levels. There's definitely some that scare me, and we lost a lot of time there, unfortunately, from that explosion. So now we're on to the last of the bonus races. Alright. Going forward, we're going to want to hold left at those menus. But yeah, so this is the last one of these that you'll see. We start off with my favoriteest thing, which is a stupid water section, which is really great when you are nervous. Alright, we got through it. Everything's fine. I'm just gonna get through some of these bushes. Oops, what am I doing? And then we have another fun little shortcut, which I definitely did not know about as a kid, and I don't know how well known it is. I know Mr. Saitan found it too, but you can just kind of go up here, and there's a whole like twisty-turny area below. You just skip it all, and you're done. It's pretty nice. What is the point of a monster truck if it can't drive over stuff? It's a very good question. I question what's the point of a big micro machine. Like, they're already micro, that's kind of their thing. If they do the big version, isn't that just a Hot Wheel at that point, you know? I don't know. So now we're on to the helicopter levels. These are probably my least favorite of the bunch. I've heard, and I don't know if this is true, but it sounds plausible, which is that when the developers made this game, they made the helicopters and gave them default driving physics with the plan to come back later and create something that felt a bit more helicoptery, and then they just forgot or ran out of time. I think forgot is a better excuse though, because they didn't change them for a long time. Like the NES version, the Genesis version, I think the SMS version, which came out after this, I'm not sure if that has different physics. But the Game Boy version does have different helicopter physics. And that came out after the other ones. But yeah, not a whole lot on these. You know, on some of these levels, like they're deceptively. There's deceptively not a lot going on, because you can always be racing tighter lines. You can always be, you know, a bit more confident about the track layout, and you can always push the limits for sure. Because you know, this game, you could definitely race a pixel perfect race if you really put the time into it. So this level is going to have our first glitch. It'll be at the end of the level. And it's the glitch that I found, and I call it the early finish glitch. And as the name implies, it'll allow us to finish the race just a little bit early. So I want you to keep in mind how much time it takes coming up here from here to the finish line. Just kind of a hike, and kind of keep that amount of time in mind, because on the last lap we're gonna circumvent that a little bit. So basically, the way this glitch works is that the game. So if you try to skip the level too far, sometimes the game will think that you've backtracked and you have to do the entire level over again, right? And there's some cases where I think the programmers hard-coded in protection, where instead of backtracking and having to redo the entire level, it'll just explode you instead. but as part of that, it very briefly decrements the race count, so it'll go from 2 to 1 or whatever, but then pops right back up, right? And but the thing is, if you go from 1 to 0, well, the race is over. So even though it's trying to pop up back to 1, it can't, because the race is over and you win. So I will be demonstrating that here on this last turn. And yeah, it's like completely random which levels do and don't have this backtrack protection on them. I've only found 3 that save time at least. And there's some that just like really seem like they should have it and don't. And I don't know why they don't. But either way, so yeah, so here on this last lap, we're just gonna keep going straight. And we're gonna run into here and explode and win the race. So that probably saves like 5 seconds or so, I wanna say. So here's another boat level. Unfortunately, there's no bubble railgun in this level, but the boat levels are still a lot of fun in my opinion. I think they're my second favorite after the coops. Just because the bouncy physics is real nice. It feels fun. I kind of like I like the race, the level design and stuff. It's interesting races. But yeah, so there's this whirlpool here that's in all the boat races, and you can see I'm giving it a pretty wide berth there because you basically get too close and you get sucked in, right? And then there's a very long dying animation, and it just takes forever. So running into that whirlpool is just the absolute worst. There's some things you can do with it to try to get a little bit of extra speed, kind of like a little gravity assist off of it. I haven't really played around with that too much because it's very, very scary. But I feel like there's probably like a setup that exists that that can get you that speed boost. You can also go above the whirlpool, but the window is much narrower, so I usually just go below it. Above it would be a slightly tighter racing line, but it's fine. Alright, so now we lost Emilio, so now I need to hold left instead of right. Yeah, it's the bathtub drain, exactly. Oops. Oh, a little bit overshot. I don't know why they... Oops, shoot. Started holding B too early. I don't know why they didn't give Chen a happy animation. Like, everyone has a happy and a sad animation, but he only has a sad animation. It's very strange. So this is the first of the tank levels. The tank levels, I kind of slept on them for a little while. Kind of disregarded them because they're so slow, right? But the thing is that every little corner you cut, like, see, when stuff like that happens, you can lose a ton of time, right? So we want to race as smooth as line as we can, so we waste as little time as possible coming through here. There's also some very nasty points in this game where it will backtrack you, and that's kind of the main reason why I have a 55-minute estimate, is because if I get backtracked like that, like, A, you'll lose the race, which takes time, and B, you'll have to do the whole race over again, and as you can see, these races are quite slow. So I'm going to play it a little bit safe. It's really on the last one that is prone to happening, but I'll play it a little bit safe when we get there. But yeah, there's quite a bit of shortcuts that I found here, and they're very important. So now this is scary. Okay. The other problem is you start lapping the AI, and like, they're kind of a pain to deal with. Like, you can kill them, but the thing is, if you kill them when they're far away, they kind of respawn right behind you and basically just immediately kill you right back. And then it's just, yeah, sometimes you get just stuck in this like loop of killing each other. The cycle never finishes. All right, so here we're on to the second Formula One race, and you can see this time we do have this side pocket we have to go into. It's a pain in the butt sometimes. Generally speaking, it behaves, but sometimes you might see me bonk against the back. So taking these 4 corners isn't too bad, but I didn't mention that the cards, the playing cards that you dismount on, if you fall off the side of them even just a tiny bit and drop like a millimeter, you die, you explode. So taking the turns off the cards at full speed is actually pretty scary. I think I probably did it a little bit slowly in the first pool table level. But here, just because of the way it's laid out, it's a little bit easier to do it full speed, so I like to go for it full speed every time here. But I probably will fall off one of these attempts, so you'll get to see what that looks like. It's pretty silly in my opinion. I mean, I used to own Micro Machines. I know they're pretty tough. They can take a millimeter far fall. Ooh boy, almost fell off there. And I know there's some optimization that I still want to do with this level. There's some corners you can cut. The thing that's scary about these pool levels though is for whatever reason they're just strewn with kill squares, like invisible checkpoints where if you hit them you just blow up. And so if you want to cut corners, you're kind of flirting with these invisible squares, and like there's very little frame of reference sometimes, so it can be really scary to do that. So for safety reasons, I haven't quite delved into that, but it's something that I'd like to improve for sure. Oop, there, okay, there I fell a millimeter and exploded. It's fine, it's fine. Alright, this is maybe the hardest level in the game. It's the one also that I found the most cool shortcuts on, including an early finish glitch. So we're going to cut there, through all that nonsense, across the little bridge here. Alright, and this is a shortcut I found called Dead Man's Turn. So we're going to come here, past this eraser, hit that checkpoint right there, and then go backwards. You can see we kind of went into traffic a little bit, but that cuts out a pretty big chunk actually. And here we want to, oh, we overshot it. It's okay though. Ooh, okay, that was super sketchy. Okay, get it together, man, get it together. Okay, we're good, we're doing good. Everything's fine, everything's fine. Okay, so we're gonna cut under the notebook. Oops. Okay. We're gonna squeeze past this. Oop, shoot. I was thinking of something else. It's fine though. Okay, and now we're gonna do Dead Man's Turn again here. Oops. And see if we can. Oop! You can't cut that too close or you explode. So, oops! Darn it! That's unfortunate. So you can bounce off that binder ring, and that'll set you up nicely for the rest of the turns. Wow, I'm just sliding all over the darn place, huh? You can see how these cars can get away from you real easily. But that's what I like. I don't know, I like the added challenge of controlling these very squirrely cars. Let's slow down there. Okay, and so this is, we're going to have our second early finish glitch. So just like on the breakfast level, we're going to try to backtrack. It's going to explode us, and then we will complete the level. Okay. Oh, I thought I had it that time. Darn. Okay, so we're going to keep going straight, and kaboom. That was a pretty good pencil plateau. We're on a decent pace right now. Where the course is on this level, yeah, it's pretty fun. Basically, you have to have your own course in your mind. Okay, so here's the last of the sand levels. Probably the hardest of the bunch, and definitely like kind of the highest skill cap, because there's this tiny little spit of sand there between that water. And you can go through that. It's very, very tight, but you can go through it. And that shortcut is very unforgiving that I just did. So if you're just a little bit off, you're going to explode, and lose potentially kind of a lot of time too. So we're going to try to not explode. We're going to try to just go straight. Kind of knowing where to get back onto the course is a little disoriented sometimes from that. Like you have to cross the road at just the right spot, because if you go one checkpoint lower or earlier, then you won't be lined up, and one checkpoint later, and you'll explode. last lap. Okay, whew, I cut that last one pretty darn close, but... Oh, no. After that clean race, I just randomly run into the water for no reason. Go figure. It's marathon for you, right? Okay. The second helicopter level. This is the hardest of the three, which is kind of funny to me, but it's like in my mind objectively the hardest of the three levels. It's got the most twists and turns and the hardest obstacles. So you've got this air conditioner, which it's not hard to deal with the air conditioner, but if you forget about it, it's really annoying because if you're not in the right spot when it comes on screen, you can like run into it and lose a ton of time. So yeah, so we have the left wing, then the south wing, and then the west wing here, and then a little chicane. Here's a little chicane, and then there's a nice little cheeky water spout at the end there that will kill you. You can cut on the inside of it and save a tiny little bit of time, but again, just like the whirlpool, the drain pool earlier. Oops, see, I wasn't ready for it and I accidentally bonked. It's okay. It's a very tight window to get through that water spout without dying. So I don't go for that. Not enough time save. So I really just try to focus on running nice solid lines and really paying attention to the level and anticipating all the turns, because there's time to be saved here. Like these levels are all pure racing line. There's no tricks because the level is solid. The track barriers are solid, I should say. And I haven't found a way to like clip into them or anything like that. This game has like an automatic. It'll blow you up if you run into a single object for too long, and I think it does that as for the AI's benefit actually, because the AI loves to get stuck on stuff, and I think that was their workaround. It's just like explode it and put it back on the track, but then they also applied it to the players. So I guess if the players get stuck too, it's like they should get released. But because of that, it's hard to kind of play around with the geometry and see if there's any holes, because if you push for too long, you explode. So. Alrighty. So we are on the last of the Warriors levels. This one's kind of tricky. I do have to focus and avoid all the super glue. Glue, turn. And I think it's glue, turn, glue, narrow. Oops. Ooh, I can't believe I dodged that. Again, just like everything else in this game, these these objects, have hitboxes that aren't quite where they look. So there, I finally hit a glue. I was a little bit too far up. You can see it slowed me down quite a bit. They don't. The hitboxes of them are not where a normal person would expect them to be, in my opinion. And it's also funny because in the NES version, they actually line up quite a bit better with the graphics. But I guess in the Genesis, they wanted to make it look cool, so they wanted to make it look cool, but also not change anything about the layout itself, I guess. So yeah, so that's why we end up with some hitboxes that aren't quite where they should maybe be, but that's okay. On screen are large. Actually, they're smaller than they appear. They're smaller than they appear, really. Alright, so now we're going to pick up Dwayne into our second tank level. This one can be a little scary. The AI likes to get stuck sometimes, and they can end up killing you with like stray bullets that you just do not expect. I need to focus on this because there's quite a few shortcuts and I like to forget them. And when you forget them, you kind of hate life. So you can see that's a pretty sizable shortcut right there. It's I know it's kind of hard to, to tell just how much of a shortcut they are, because sometimes the track is really just like right off screen, and then, it looks like I just cut the entire level in half there, but it wasn't that big of a shortcut. See, there's some guy shooting random shots over there. He's got to avoid that. So you just don't want to get mixed up with those guys if you can at all avoid it. Oops. Actually, I want to be like here. Oops. Okay, that's fine. And one little slip up here can really, really ruin your day. So we have to worry about red here. Oh boy. Oh shoot. I was too worried about red, and I went a little bit too far and hit the wrong checkpoint. Oh god, there he is again. Okay, it's fine. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. We're good. Calm down. Okay. That was pretty smooth otherwise. It's a bummer about that checkpoint, but stupid red car got me too worried. Alright, this is also a very hard level. Another sports car level, so I need to focus on this one. This level is actually unique to the Genesis version. For whatever reason, the NES version, and indeed most of the versions of this game, they just repeat the final level twice. So there's 4 total races, because after you do the base 24, there's a 25th race, and for some reason the 25th race on the Nintendo is the same as this race. Not the same as this. Yeah, the same. They're both the same. However, what they did is they took the championship. I know this isn't making any sense, and it just fell. They took the championship level and kept it as a championship level, but then added this new level as the last of the 3 coupe levels, if that makes any sense at all. Regardless, the thing here is that there's these maps online for the NES and the SMS versions, and not the Genesis versions. So this is the only level where I didn't have any map to work with. I kind of had to make my own kind of poorly drawn map. I don't know if I took this shortcut before. I should have. Oh boy, we're just bonking into everything. For some reason, I always turn the wrong way there. And I think because there's a very similar section in a different level, and then for whatever reason, that one will just take over in my mind. So it doesn't help that. Oh boy, all these levels have the same palettes. Like, they did different palettes for the Formula 1 races, but not for anything else. And I don't know why they didn't change the palettes or something. So it's really easy to forget which one you're on sometimes. Okay. We can cut this a bit tighter. Lapping these guys, it always sucks because they get in your way, and then they can bonk you while you're on this ruler. Those rulers are really nasty to line up for. As you saw, I fell off one of them. Still very good though. We're still doing good. Alright, so this is the last boat level. This one does have a bubble railgun. It's not as much of a time save, and I think if you mess it up the first time around, it's like time neutral basically. With the exception of the last lap, because the lap is kind of, the finish line is kind of close to the to where you do the railgun, so doing it doesn't save you a ton of time at all on the last lap. So we're going to go through the first pipe, and we're going to try to line up the second one. Hey, look at that. First try. You can see that didn't send me flying like the previous bubble railgun, but it's shorter, so I think that there's just less time for your car to be accelerated. I feel like the bubble physics in this game, I feel like there's things to be learned there still, because sometimes I hit bubbles and I get random speed boosts, And I always want to like figure out how to recreate them, but so far I haven't really found any like super reliable way of recreating them. All right, so we're not gonna, we're not gonna do it on the last lap. We're just gonna complete the last lap as usual, because I don't want to mess it up and lose time. And you've seen it twice now, so you know how it goes. We are still on a good pace here, actually. So we want to keep that going. Character in the game. There is a category specifically dedicated to Walter called Walter %, where you play as him, and he's slower than everyone. So doesn't sound fun to me, but some people like it, so that's cool. I think the problem with Walter % is that you have to deal with the AI quite a bit more because you're not faster than them, so they can catch up to you in straightaways and things like that. Alright, so this is the last helicopter level. The main obstacle is those 6 spouts, but as long as you can count to 6, they're really not a problem. That is not to say that I haven't struggled to count to 6 before, because I have definitely died to those spouts, especially when I'm talking and rambling about other things. So this one's definitely easier than the second one. And what's funny to me is they made it even easier than it was in the NES version. Because in the NES version, it has 2 of those air conditioners that you have to navigate past, and they took one of them out. I don't know why. I guess they were like, "Oh, this is too hard" or something. I don't know. Maybe a coding issue. Maybe couldn't handle 2. I really have no idea why they took it out, but they did. So we're just going to try to race nice tight lines, keep it clean. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hey, we did it. We counted. Oops. Okay. 2, 3. That was a gold. Actually, we got back-to-back golds there. I had a 2-second gold on Soap Lake City, and a 1-second gold just now. Alright, so this is the last of the Formula 1 races, and also the last early finish glitch. Now this level has a shortcut that is very scary. I'm going to go for it, but it's very scary because you sneak past some invisible kill blocks and kind of wind your way through them a little bit until you touch a square that the game thinks you can't get to, but you definitely can, and then you're golden from there on out. So you'll see, hopefully. So we're gonna go up here. I think I'm gonna slow down for the card dismount just a tiny little bit. So we're gonna come up here, sneak through there, touch that checkpoint, and as you can see, the level counted, and we're on our merry way. So we only have to do that one more time because the last time we're going to instead do the early finish glitch, which is considerably easier. Basically, the last time we're going to let it kill us the way that it wants to, and then but it'll decrement the lap counter and we'll win. So stop looking at your splits. Don't look at your splits. Slow down just a little bit. Actually, that was a lot of it, but it's okay. We're going to be a little careful here. Hit the checkpoint. Okay, so we're out of the scariest parts on this level, at least. Just bonk that a little bit. You can hear the AI popping for some reason. They like to get stuck and pop a bunch. Okay, so here after the dismount, we're just gonna go straight, oops, little scaredy, straight up and kaboom, and there we go. This is actually the level where I discovered the early finish glitch. So I was trying to do that shortcut and I messed it up and exploded, and I saw the decrement. I was like, wait a second. All right, here's the penultimate level. It's kind of hard, especially at the start, to not get blown up. Oh, I don't think I've ever gotten through that section without getting blown up there. Could have been cleaner. This is a level where I'm really scared of accidentally having to repeat this race, so we don't want that to happen. So I'm going to play a little bit safe. Ooh, we almost got tagged by a random bullet there, which is fun. So we're going to come up here. And then here we're just gonna go through the checkerboard like normal. You can kind of go way off of it. We'll still take this shortcut, but you can cut that quite a bit more aggressively. But again, if you don't, it backtracks you, and then you've basically lost the entire race. And as you can see, these races are quite slow because these cars are quite slow. An interesting optimization problem with these things is that they turn very, very slowly while you're moving, but they turn incredibly quickly when they're stopped. So there's definitely times where it's to your benefit to stop, to turn faster. Like here, it's definitely faster to stop. There's no question in my mind. But I think that there's some cases where it's not so clear cut. And then what do you do? So we're taking it nice and easy. No reason to get crazy. No reason to get crazy. Calm down, calm down, calm down. I'd rather err on the side of being conservative here. So that's fine. I don't mind losing a couple seconds. Okay, so this is the last lap. Just gonna play it safe. Oh my god. I do not like to see you. I'm gonna get right up on his bumper before I kill him so that he spawns as far back as possible. Okay, we're good. Whew. Yeah, we only lost like 3 seconds. So we're coming into the last level. This is the hardest of the levels, I think, but we are on world record pace right now. So I think I'm just gonna focus. Oh boy, that was scary. So we are going to intentionally bounce off this pen so that we line up nicely for that turn. Otherwise, it's pretty scary to try to take that turn at full speed. All these rulers are scary. They're just, each one is scary. And then this is a tricky turn because we want to go above the ink pot. Then one last tricky turn. This is a level that I really thought would have backtrack protection, but it does not. Not that I've been able to find. Which is a bummer because the early finish glitch here would be quite nice. Oh boy, I was not in control of that situation. We got through it. Gotta breathe. Oh boy. You have to slow down there, otherwise you fly off the end of the desk, which is, you know, real great. Alright, I'd rather bonk off the top of the ink than go through the ink, because you can lose a lot of time going through the ink. Because you lose your traction and you can kind of go flying. Alright, we're on the last lap, so time's going to end when we cross the finish line. That's not what you like to see. That's not what you like to see. It's okay though. It's fine. Take it nice and slow. Alright. Past the scariest parts, now we just gotta get past the ink one last time. Okay, that wasn't great, but now we get past this last one last time. And fine. That, my friends, is a new world record. 11 seconds. We finished with a 49:31. Wow. Let's go, you guys. Heck yeah. World record, baby. All right, well, thanks for watching. We're going to keep this Genesis block going. We're going to be starting some Sonic here soon. I will be back racing against None to None. Yeah, and then up next, I guess, is Sonic Rush Adventure. If you want to catch more of me, you can find me at twitch.tv/March_TV. And yeah, that'll do it.